Behind the Shades.
My name is Elizabeth Watson. I am a certified mindset and manifestation coach and an intuitive empathic reader. And so, what I do is I work with people who are busy moms and business owners um, who really want to follow their dreams, go for that life they've always longed for, but they feel really bogged down by taking care of everybody else's needs. They just don't even know how or where to start. So I love taking them and showing them the path to manifesting all the things they want for themselves, for their families, for if they have the business, all of it. And they can find me on Facebook and Instagram. And my handle is at the surreal dawn. They can also email me directly. Same, thesurrealdawn@gmail.com. And all of my links can be found through either one of those platforms, and we can schedule a quick call, talk about what you're going through. But more importantly than all that, I'm also a wife and a mom of 3. And just in case I wasn't keeping busy enough, I homeschool my oldest 2. So we're just about to have a kindergarten graduate, and somebody else is finishing up first grade. And in the background, we have a not quite 2-year-old running around, making sure that he keeps us on our toes. So life stays busy. But that is exactly why I love working with moms, because there's never a free minute. Any parent knows there's never a free minute for yourself, let alone for the things you want to do with your life. But that shouldn't be something that holds you back. It should be something that motivates you to find creative time pockets so you can show your kids a different way.
Perfect. So I know for me growing up, I wish, Elizabeth, that I was homeschooled, because in the beginning I had such a bad experience in my early ages in school, but I survived. I fought the good fight, and here I am today. I don't know if I survived it, but I definitely am here today. So take us through the genesis of how you started this, because I know for me, not a lot of parents homeschool their children. When I was growing up, seems to be more common now, but let us know why you decided to do this and how it actually benefits you as well as your family.
Well, thank you. That's a rife topic. It is very much becoming a more popular, a more supported, a more encouraged method of education now to homeschool. Alternative learning styles are becoming very, very much more accepted. Um, for my family, even before we'd had kids, we were thinking that traditional public school may not be the route we wanted to go. I also had a really bad experience in my early school years, in my first grade experience. So bad, in fact, that my parents decided to hold me back and repeat first grade. And it was not through anything I had done. This teacher had had multiple complaints and nothing had been done. And the school district tried to tell my parents that I was actually mentally deficient and would never be able to attend school properly, and they should consider special education for me. To which my mother replied, I'm taking her to a child psychologist and I'm having her professionally evaluated, and we will go from there. They discovered I was actually gifted and bored in school and all of these things. So I ended up in advanced programs. But it definitely impacted my belief in my own abilities. That was such a formative thing to go through. It's such a, I mean, first grade is where you're supposed to be getting all these foundational things. And I have vivid memories of my teacher handing me a math book and saying, figure it out, read the instructions and do the work. And she would never come around and actually teach. And you're in first grade, you're not necessarily such a grasp on your reading skills yet, let alone the cognitive ability to like figure out all of these advanced addition and subtraction things. It just, so to this day, I struggle with my mathematics. I'm okay at it, but I have zero confidence in it a lot of the time because of that. So that really got my husband and I thinking about how much damage the wrong teacher can do, even in a great school district. And then COVID, the thing that rocked all our worlds, came along right when my eldest was about to go into kindergarten. So we knew there was no way virtual kindergarten was going to be successful for her. We already had some ideas that she was different. She has since been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and we're getting support for her now. But at the time, we didn't have anything set up for that, so we decided we'd wait because she was on the higher end of the lower end of the age range, so we didn't need to start her. And then the next year rolled around, and COVID was still with us, and we said, okay, they're going back in person now. There's no way it's going to stay. So we're just going to bite the bullet and go with online homeschooling options. And thank goodness we did, because they were in, they were out, they were in, they were out. They had so many teachers leave. And this is a problem that I don't think enough people are talking about right now in public schools. The teacher to student ratio is insane. It's commonly accepted that one teacher should have 35 plus students in their class. How in the ever-loving anything is one teacher supposed to take care of that many kids? How are they supposed to give support to the gifted ones, to give extra nurturing to the ones who are struggling, and to let the ones who are in the middle not get lost entirely? It boggles my mind. And then COVID happens, and people draw a line in the sand, and they are either committed to continuing teaching and they believe in vaccination, or they are committed to their right to choose and they leave the profession because they're not going to be dictated to. But here now we have an even bigger problem. Less teachers, still the same number of students. How is that supposed to work? So we were very fortunate to have the option to keep our kids at home. I was at home already, so it was not a hardship for our family, thankfully. And it's been a beautiful experience. I never wanted to be a teacher. I did not have the patience. I wanted to just be mom. I still would like to be just mom. But watching them learn, watching them gain a new ability to master a new word, a new sight word, to read a book that looked really complicated at first, to know they sounded out those words, to watch them grasping a mathematical concept and being so proud and excited to share it with me. Those moments are beautiful, and I'm so blessed to have them. And I'm so grateful that there are so many of these programs available now. Ours is actually considered a public school. Our kids are enrolled through a public district, but we get to do it online. And there's support through virtual live lessons, and there's actual curriculum laid out that I can follow. But we have a lot of flexibility in our schedule. If my oldest is having a hard time with her focus or her attitude, we can pause and we can do something else, and we can get up and get moving, and we can come back to it when she's in a better state of mind. If my little guy gets hangry and nobody can hear anything they're doing, we can take a break and everybody can have a snack, and then we can come back to it. And if there's a day where we're all just not feeling it, I mean, the sun shines out right now. We have all got summer on the mind. We can take the day. We can go and play in the park, and we can use that as like a science. We can talk about the science of the sun and how it's warming up the earth and the seasons and things. And all of that beautiful educational stuff counts. So we're really strong believers in the system.
For me, growing up, my experience in elementary school was I grew up without my mother or my father, and I was spending a lot of time the first 5 years with my grandmother. So when I came to the city that my parents were in, I didn't really know them. I knew my grandmother because that was the person that raised me. So when they put me to school, I was experiencing what many people would call separation anxiety, right? So I wasn't as social as a child that age would be, because especially boys, right? They're running around, they have all this energy. And the school thought that maybe there was something wrong with me because I wasn't social. So to your point, no one was asking questions and trying to maybe dig a little bit deeper. It was just, this child isn't speaking like the other boys. There must be something maybe physically or mentally wrong, instead of it being something else. And I was always an advocate that if I would have children, I would either put them in a private school or tutor, like a one-on-one session, or it would do a homeschooling, because I just found the experience, especially lately. And you mentioned a good point with COVID. The last couple of years, we saw people in a different light. Many of the people that we saw as heroes, the nurses, the teachers, things like that, they were being overwhelmed, and some of them were thinking maybe it isn't worth it because they have to protect their health as well. So when you decided on this path, Elizabeth, was a transition for you difficult, or is it something that you decided that, hey, I need to make sure I know what I'm doing because there's people who are depending on me to make sure that they're set up for success?
So the transition to homeschooling or beginning my business?
Homeschooling and then your business.
Oh, okay. So we can do both. Incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. The transition was difficult on me. It was difficult on my kids. Our home space, which had always been their free space to play, to have fun, to relax, now became this dual purpose. Now there were times where they were expected to sit down and actually sit and learn, and they couldn't just get up when they were done. They couldn't just run and go grab the book they wanted because now was our time to be doing math. And they couldn't watch or listen to the music. They couldn't be on their tablet. We had ABC Mouse, still have it, in advance, and they couldn't just go play the games. They couldn't just ask for a movie. They couldn't just ask for, music. Now they actually had to sit and do these structured lesson plans, and it was hard on them. It was hard on me. The learning curve to being a homeschooling parent is rough. There are a ton of social support groups for parents who decide to homeschool because it is insane. We do not ask a teacher to walk into the classroom. We don't hand them a manual and say, here you go teach these kids. They go through years of education, certification, job shadowing before they are put in a classroom and here go, mold these young minds. So there's a huge struggle with that whole imposter syndrome thing that comes up, which was a mindset thing I had to work past. In the who am I to try and teach my kids the very foundations of what is going to be their academic life? Who am I to give them this structure, this basic knowledge? And at the same time, who am I not to trust myself to do it? I'm their parent. I had no idea what I was doing when I brought them home from the hospital either, but I figured it out. It's terrifying, the job titles we take on, but any parent knows what is right for your kid is what you're going to do. No matter how hard it is, no matter how inconvenient, no matter how much you may sit and cry in the bathroom on some hard days, you're going to do what you've got to do because that is what your kids need from you. And in a lot of ways, it's the same thing when I started my business. I didn't start my business because I had all this free time. I have zero time. It was funny because I was actually talking to someone the other day and she asked me, what do you do for fun? And that was my response. I just kind of stared at her and we both started laughing because there are things I enjoy. There are things I'll get back to as this season of my life transitions into something where I do have more me time. And I mean, I take time for me. I do. I have morning rituals and routines that help center my life. That's a big thing that I work with my clients on. So it's definitely something I practice what I preach. And I don't think I would survive if I didn't have that time to exercise, to journal, to visualize the good things, to sit in gratitude for a while in the morning, to get my head right before the insanity ensues with all three of my little loves. I've had days where that wasn't the case and it was no good. So all of these things that I've learned about mindset, about really balancing my life in the healthiest ways for myself so that I can model it for my kids, have brought us through the rough times of starting homeschooling autistic to kindergartner from the ground up, from adding in her sister to the mix while our baby brother is running around making things interesting, transitioning through the COVID fun times, and then transitioning into my business, coming into all of this as well. My business came very much from my own journey, my own story. I came from a place where I had fallen into over 6 years of a severe clinical depression. And we were not in a place where I could go to therapy, where I could get medication. I was still a stay-at-home mom. I didn't trust the antidepressants when I had no one else there to back me up. So it lasted a really long time. It was an incredibly dark place. It was a struggle for all of us. Thank goodness for my husband, because without him, I don't know what would have happened. There were some days where I could not get the energy to do more than give the kids snacks. Here's your breakfast, here's your snack. I didn't even eat because I didn't have the energy after I was done with that to help them. I put on some TV for them and that was it. That was all I could manage. And I hate that. I hate that time. But anyone who's experienced depression will know it's just this weight, and it just covers your entire life and your entire self. And you know that it's not what you want. You know what it would take to get up and make yourself feel better. Maybe even just a shower would change a lot of your day, but you just can't get past that heavy depression state. And I started to come out of it with the mindset tools I had learned when I had my first health and fitness journey, because I lost over 100 pounds and kept it off when I had my first 2 children. And then I failed to set good boundaries with somebody, which is what led to the domino effect that landed me in my depression. So I started coming out of my depressive state when I had my 3rd child. And at the same time, my intuition unlocked on this incredibly deeper level. And I started getting a lot of signals, signs, synchronicities that were pointing me in the direction that this was not just a gift for me, but that's something I needed to share. And it wasn't just going to be about reading tarot cards or oracle cards or pendulums and giving people the answers in the moment. It was going to be about taking everything that I had been through in that depressive state, everything I had learned in my first fitness journey, everything I had understood about mindset, and putting it all together and showing other people the way to come from those darkest places, those incredibly frustrating ruts that your life gets into, and bridge that gap into something better for yourself, your family, your business, all of the circles. It was time for me to go that route, whether I had time for it or not. And it's been a huge blessing, just like homeschooling. Sure, it's hard. Sure, it's frustrating. Sure, it's not always a direct line, but each of those things has enriched all of our families so much. And it's so inspiring to know that I'm showing my kids living a life of choice.
So for those who, so when you're taking, Elizabeth, what you went through, the difficulties, the understand that saying that I want this for my children and I'm going to make damn sure I'm successful in delivering it. How much of yourself now are you putting into your work as you're helping other mothers achieve the same thing that you are aspiring to achieve yourself?
Well, that's the beauty of it, is that this is my passion. Ever since I was little, I've been one of those people who's just so empathic that it fuels me to help other people. It makes me feel better. It's something I see in my eldest daughter. She's taken on a lot of that empathic ability as well. And the beauty of where I've come to, this career that I've been called to, this purpose that I'm living, is that it lights me up. It fills my days. It gives me this creative energy. I love talking with people about what I do. I love seeing the effects that it's having with my clients, watching them go from this place of questioning, okay, yeah, but is that really something that I can have in my life, to, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is really happening. And it's such an amazing journey. And it's an internal change and it's an external change, and it impacts everything. Because you can't change one part of your life and have it be isolated. Everything impacts everything else. Your physical health and what you're doing for it impacts what your mental and emotional health is. Like when you are taking care of yourself and when you're eating right, you are naturally happier. You're naturally more uplifted. You're vibrating on this higher level, and that impacts your family. They're happier because you're happier. That impacts your work. You're more productive. You're more focused because you are just in that better state. There's all these neurochemical reasons why, there's all these scientific reasons why, and there's all these metaphysical reasons why. Your body, when you are in tune with what is right, healthy, and balanced for it, knows it, and it rewards you for that. And living this life, this balanced, healthy lifestyle that incorporates all of that, and showing my kids that, there are no words to describe what it is, especially having come from such a dark place in my own life just so recently. It's night and day. I I was just posting about this on my social media. I had called my best friend that I've known since we were teeny weeny, like preteens. And I was telling her about this incredibly overwhelming feeling of being in exactly the right place at exactly the right time, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. It is so surreal, which I know is a play on my business name, Surreal Dawn, but it just is. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before in my entire life. And there's a part of me that kept going, oh my gosh, when am I going to wake up and find out that this isn't real? Like, when am I going to mess this up? But I recognize that part for what it is. That's the internal critic, the limiting beliefs that have come from a lifetime of self-esteem issues and just all of this experiences, these repetitions from around me. And I know that voice because I listened to it for so long. And now I have the power, the choice, and the awareness to say, mm-mm, you're not a voice I'm going to listen to. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. And I embrace what is now. I embrace what I'm living. I embrace what I'm feeling. And it's so incredibly powerful that it brought me to tears. It was just all encompassing. And to see the smiles on my kids' faces when they see how happy I am, to do a dance with them because something amazing happened in my business and have them just their faces lighting up, and my husband dancing in with us and so proud of me as well, and just loving seeing what I'm able to do with this. It's indescribable. And being in a place where I can offer that to others, especially moms or small business owners who struggle so much, especially in wanting something for themselves, in wanting more, which there's this subliminal message in our society that it's not okay to want more, that it's selfish, that it's wrong, that you should just be grateful for what you have because there are so many people who have less. It's not true. It's just not. If you look at it, our nation is founded on this American dream that you can have anything you want, that you can build anything you want. And that is their truth. Our perspective is what's going to shape our reality. So if we accept that it's selfish to want more, that it's not okay to want more, that we need to just fit into the mold that has been pre-made for us, we're going to be miserable and we're going to find ways to sabotage ourselves at every turn. But if we decide that we live in a world that we can create whatever we want from, and if COVID taught us nothing else, it's that what we thought was not possible is not true. Everything is able to be changed on a dynamic, drastic level. So why not our lives? The career paths that are opening up right now post-COVID are so far from anything we might have accepted before the pandemic happened. Now is the most amazing time to reach for those dreams, to go for those goals, to create your own path. And if it sounds scary and if it seems hard, change is. But the things that are scary are the things that invite the most change for us. And there are people who can help you with it. There are coaches, there are mentors, there are support communities all over the place. You just have to reach out. And if you decide that you are ready to make a change, then do find some support for it, because it's not going to be easy, but it's not supposed to. It's supposed to change you into the person who is meant to follow that path, who is able to have those things in their life, who is vibrating energetically, harmonically with the things that you want, that you are longing for. And I truly, truly believe this. The dreams that we have for our ideal lives are messages from the universe, from a higher power, from the divine, whatever you want to call it. Those are messages of the life you are meant to be living. You are so obsessed with it because that is your life. And it's just a question of, are you willing to do what it takes to get it?
I think sometimes people forget the power that they have on their own lives, as well as the lives of the family that they're raising, right? Let's say the children, their spouse, their husband, their wife. We forget that sometimes. And one thing that I wanted to point out, and you mentioned it as well, is that the world today is different than it was yesterday, than different was a few years ago. And it's still going to be different in the future. And
Yes.
that's why we should say, I'm able to do this. I want to do this. It's going to be difficult. It may be an arduous journey, but I know what the benefits are. So for me, I'm the type of person, before I do something, I want to figure out how it's going to benefit me. And by extension, it may benefit other people, right?
Oh, it
So,
will.
Elizabeth, when you're working with your clients and you have that train of thought, because you're like, it will, right? Do you help them identify how this will change their life?
I love that question. Love that question because yes. And that's the thing. If you think about it, nothing we do is isolated. No man is an island. We know that quote. Think about it. Like the last time you were out in a store and someone genuinely smiled at you, what did that do for you? Like whatever you were going through, you saw that one genuine smile had the power to lift you up for just a second, maybe even more. And if you share that smile, what does that do for someone else? And that's a teeny tiny example of what is possible when we live at these better places, these better states of mind, these better states of emotion, these higher states of vibration. When we operate on these better planes, when we keep ourselves in these better states, it cannot help but impact everyone around us. It's this ripple effect. I mean, science has taught us that everything is energy, that everything has this magnetic field, has a vibration of frequency. So, how can you not appreciate that your vibration, your frequency, your energy is going out to everyone around you in your workplace, in your family, in your social circles, in your religious experiences, wherever you choose to worship? Everything about that is impactful. And if you are someone who goes to a church environment, I mean, there's a reason people love Sunday service because everybody's getting into that beautiful place of gratitude and belief and faith. And the energy that you come away from is just so amazing that you think about it all week long and it sustains you to the next Sunday. And if you're in this really powerful team building experience, like if you're at a corporate retreat or something, and there's all this amazing bonding that's happening, all of this really personally developing information that's coming out, this really empowering mindset work, you come away from that going, yeah, oh my gosh, I am ready to get this going. So obviously we can't live in that high frequency state all the time. Things happen, life happens, we come down. But the goal is to really put yourself in that state and keep yourself there as much as possible so that when you dip, you don't dip so far. And when you go up, it creates a new plateau, a new level that you can just keep going up from. And the possibilities become endless when you open yourself up to the prospect of it, when you open yourself up to being willing to change. And one of the things I work with first with my clients is belief, is believing in yourself, believing in these dreams that you have, believing in the tools you're going to use to get there. And it doesn't even have to be a belief of how. Now, I say that as a Virgo and a very like analytical person. I want to know the exact action plan that's going to make things happen a lot of time. But one of the beautiful things about manifestation is that you have to let go of knowing how it's all going to work out. That is part of where you co-create with what the world around you. If you release your need to control every aspect and know all of the minutia of the steps you're going to take, you open yourself up to these amazing and magical surprises that come in. And maybe what you thought was going to give you it's an emotion that we all want from something. If it's that relationship, that person you fixated on for so long that you know is the one you're supposed to be with, and that's what you go for. And maybe you guys get together and in 3-6 months, you find out you didn't really know that person at all and you're miserable. If you've ever had something like that happen, or that job you just knew was going to be so good and you get in it and it's nothing like you thought and it's just draining you because it's so menial and the pay isn't even that good because there's all these extra things that are coming out, these extra transit fees and things you have to pay for that you didn't think about. So your take home is even less than you thought. If that's ever happened to you, that's an example of being so fixated on the form of what you want and not thinking about what you want to feel from it. Because feelings are incredible motivators. They're the things that we acquire all of this stuff for. They're the things that we go for. All of these life changes are about a feeling we want to experience. That relationship is about feeling loved, about feeling compassion and companionship and mutual respect, and just feeling like you have this life partner. So if you focus on that and you let go of the picture of who that's going to be, then the next thing you know, you're talking to someone, in the grocery store, and you're laughing and you're having this amazing conversation, and they weren't someone you'd look twice about, but something about being open to it. They say it happens when you least expect it. When you are open to the surprises, the possibilities, and you're focusing on what you want to feel, you're putting that out into the world. You're starting that ripple, that wave, that vibration out into the world. And if you're open, it's going to come back to you in these amazing, amazing ways. So I work with my clients on that belief. And then another thing we work on is structuring all of this inside what I call a whole self healthy life balance. Because where people trip up is they're going so hard for that new level of financial security that they actually spend less time with their family. And then everybody's miserable and it's not sustainable and the whole thing falls apart. Or they're working so hard on exercising to get down to that goal weight that they're not talking to their friends anymore. And they're so tired at work that their performance is suffering and it's not sustainable. So when you balance all the things that matter most in your life, those little things don't trip you up anymore. You get rid of fear's ability to take the reins because you've taken all of these things into account. And now they're not going to be the roadblocks that could come in and snatch away all that work you're doing.
So, what do you say to the women who would come to you? They're struggling, they're trying to figure it out, but they're having a hard time seeing the light at the tunnel, meaning that they just can't see themselves looking and feeling successful. How do you help them?
Well, first of all, I tell you, I was right there with you, honey. I was right there with you. I lived the darkest days of my life and I had no end in sight. It was 6 years of darkness for me. And it robbed me of so much with my kids. And I hate that. But I grew from it. And you do not have to know the how. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You just have to decide that you want to. You have to decide that you want to because your choice is powerful. It is magical. It unlocks so much. And if you make the decision, you decide, you choose that you are going to change, that is your first step. It is a huge step. It is a hard step, but it is incredibly powerful. It is incredibly empowering. And if you choose to make that change and then you get someone to help support you in the process, someone who's been down the road before, someone who can walk down the path with you, someone who can help you find the pitfalls and the trip ups and the hurdles that they experienced, then you're going to get there so much faster. And it's going to be so much easier because it's so easy to talk ourselves out of these things, to tell ourselves that, oh, it's just not possible for me. Or I can't possibly find the time, or there's no way we can find the money for this investment. It's very easy to talk yourself out of things. But when something really matters to you, have you ever noticed how you become the most amazing and creative problem solver? Like if your car breaks down, it doesn't matter if you've got less than $200 in the bank. You find a way to get it fixed because that is your livelihood. That is your kids' transportation if somebody gets sick, God forbid. Or if your kids need to eat, you suck up pride and you go to the food bank or wherever you have to go to make sure they're going to have food. You find a way if it really matters to you. If it is something that is that important or it's something that lights you up inside. There's people who later in life go back to school, they don't have the time, they don't have the money, but they find a way to make it happen because they believe in it, because they want it with every fiber of their being. They have made the choice that that's going to happen and that's going to be what it's going to be. And they don't take no for an answer. They just keep going. And if something doesn't work, if something falls down and fails, if something is a setback, they don't let that derail the whole thing. They go, okay, that didn't work. And just like Edison, they find another way. I mean, what is his quote? He didn't fail to create a light bulb. He just found some 900 ways not to, it's like, that is the power of your mindset. When you get your mind in the right place, then all of these things become possible. People talk about it as a growth mindset. Some people talk about it as the manifestation mindset. It's just about getting your thoughts in a place where they are serving you instead of sabotaging you. And that is where someone like myself as a mindset coach becomes so incredibly valuable, because those limiting beliefs are built over a lifetime from our parents, our teachers, our preachers, our society in general. It is all this information that's been shoved at you since you were young. And a lot of it is well-meaning. It's meant to keep you safe. It's meant to help you grow into a good person, but it's limiting you. And you don't even know where these things come from half the time. One of the ones that I love telling people about is that phrase, money doesn't grow on for trees. We all know that, right? Seems totally innocuous. And you understand the meaning behind it. It's to make you grateful. It's to make you understand the value of hard work, right? But it also instills in you this scarcity mindset that, okay, well, there's a lack in the world. And so I have no right to want more because everyone's lacking. But I love that phrase so much, because when you think about what dollars are, it's literally like a paper cotton product. So it actually comes exactly from trees. So the whole phrase is so flawed, and yet it molds so many of us. And so you have to get someone to help you really take a hard look at these limiting beliefs that are holding you back, that are sabotaging you, that are keeping you in that state of, I just can't see what the possibilities are. I just don't know. And that's where someone like myself comes in, or a therapist, or a mentor, or a community of like-minded people, and says, okay, well, what is it you want to feel? Start from there. Do you want to feel happier? Do you want to feel stronger? Do you want to feel more freedom in what you can do with your day, with your life? Do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to be able to eat food and enjoy the taste of it and not be stressing about every calorie? Like, what is it you want? We all know that. Nobody, whether you admit it to yourself or not, you know what you want. So when you start from that place, then you can start to evaluate, okay, so what are the things that I could do or could have or could try and be that would bring more of that into my life? And one of the amazing things is that you don't have to wait to feel those things. Once you know what you want to feel, you can find ways of making it happen today, right now. And while you're going for these bigger things that are going to bring more of that into your life, you can be feeling those things right now by making little shifts.
I know that I had to go through something similar. And that's why I love the message you share as we're closing, because it's an understanding that there's going to be sacrifices. You are going to have boundaries placed on you because your parents may have said that this is all that you're going to be. Your teachers may have said you only could do this. Your pastor could have said that, well, if you don't do, all these boundaries. And I always wonder, how many of us could have been something else in life if we just believed in ourselves as much as we believed in what other people thought we should be?
And that word should is such a catchphrase. Should implies a belief you hold, but you don't even believe is true. If you believed it, you would just say, this is the thing. This is who I am. This is what I am. You say, this is what I should be, because you don't believe it. You don't feel it. And the wonderful thing I have for you, my friends, to know right now is that you do not have to stay stuck in these limiting beliefs. You don't have to stay stuck in this life that you have been put into or that you've grown into because of your life experiences. because of the things that people told you growing up, because of how you felt going through all those things. You get to choose. You get to make the choice. You get to change. You can stay in what's comfortable and familiar and get the same results. Or you can choose to face the scary, to try and change, to go for the moon and the stars and all of those things that you want so much. You can choose to try and you can choose to change. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be something that you just flip a switch and you rewrite a lifetime of programming. But it is incredibly possible. It is entirely in your power to do. And there are so many people out there who can help you with it. And if I am one, if anything I've said today resonates with you, then please, please, please don't wait any longer. Reach out. Let's talk. Schedule a free 30-minute phone call with me. We will talk about what your dreams are, what you feel like is holding you back, and how it would look for us to work together to bridge that gap from that comfort, dark place that you're in to the dreams that you long for.